here we go. More trig stuff is happening. For the marked angle theta, decide if x represents the length of the opposite or the adjacent. Well, the adjacent is the answer because opposite will be opposite theta. This is adjacent. This time, there we go, it is opposite because opposite theta. And this time round, it's opposite the right angle, which means it is the hypotenuse, the longest side. So, would we use sine theta, cos theta, or tan theta for these? Because we have the hypotenuse and we have the opposite, that's O and H, that means we must use sine theta equals O over H. B has the adjacent and it has the opposite, which means that's O and A, which is tan theta. And for C, we have got the adjacent and the hypotenuse. That is A and H. That means cosine theta. One of each. Okay, which first step would be used to solve for x in the equation sine 70 equals x over 4? We need to get x by itself. It's dividing by 4. We've got to do the opposite. We multiply by 4 to get rid of the denominator. Okay. Use a calculator to evaluate the following correct to do decimal places. Are we swapping between calculator and non-calculator? Being able to see it. So it says sine 20 theta for the just says sine 20 for the first one. So I go to my trusty calculator, which will be over here, and it wants me to do sine 20. So sine 20, 0.342. Only wants two decimal places, so it stays at 2. Next one, cos 37. Cos 37. 0.79, which will round up to 0.8. I'll just go 80. Next one, tan 64. So I type in tan 64. 2.05. Next one, sine 47. Sine 47. 0.731, which would just be 0.73. Next one, cos 84. Cos 84. 0.104, which would be just 0.10. Next one, tan 14.1. Tan 14.1. 0.251, which would just be 0.25. That's the 0. Sorry about it looking messy. Next one, sine 27.4. Oops, sine 27.4 be 0.46. 0.46. And the last one is cos 76.2. Cos 76.2. 0.238, which will have to round up to 0.24. 0.24. Alright, find the value of x correct to two decimal places. So for all of these, they look a bit tricky, but it's the same thing that you're always doing. You've got a denominator, and you've just got to multiply everything by that denominator to get rid of that denominator. If I multiply this one, a, by 4, I will end up getting a 4 there, and the multiply 4 and divide by 4, they cancel each other out. So you end up just getting left with x. So I'll show it a bit in a more fuller way, I guess, for the first couple, but then I will just speed through. Okay, so for the first one, like I said, you end up going from sine 50 equals x over 4. You multiply both sides by 4, you end up getting 4 sine 50 equals x over 4 times 4. They cancel each other out. So then you just get 4 sine 50 equals x. So in my calculator, I put in 4 sine 50, nothing else. Enter. 3.06. Do I want 2 decimal places? I do. That is my answer. For the second one, B, tan 81 equals x over 3. Tan 81 equals x over 3. Have to multiply both sides by 3. So I end up getting, I'm going to change the color here, if it lets me. Okay, I'm going to have 3 tan 81 equals x over 3 times 3. They cancel each other out. 3 tan 81 is what I type in. 3 tan 81, 18.94 is my answer. Done. Next one, cos 33 is x over 6. Cos 33 equals x over 6. Got to multiply both sides by 6. So I'm going to end up getting 6 cos 33 equals x over 6 times 6. They cancel each other out. 6 cos 33 is what I type in. 6 cos 33 is 5.032, which would just be 5.03. Done. Okay, so I feel I can see a pattern. I'm always just getting this number and multiplying it by at the front, and that is all I need to do for all of them. There are no exceptions here. So this one is going to be 3.5 cos 75. 3.5 cos 75. 0.905, which will round up to 0.91. 0.91. Sine 4.2 sine 24. 4.2 sine 24. 17.08. Next one, 10 tan 42. 10 tan 42. 9.00. G, 18.4. Sorry, 7.1 tan 18.4. I've mixed it up slightly by putting it on the left side. So this just goes up in front. 7.1 tan 18.4. 2.36. 2.36. Next one, 5.3 comes up the front here. 5.3 sine 64.7. 5.3 sine 64.7. That is 4.79. And the last one will be 12.6 cos 52.9. 12.6 cos 52.9. 7.60. And that's that done. Alright, just going to go through these and then that will be the end of this video. Find the value of x correct to 2 decimal places. You can write down O, H and A if it makes you feel better. I'd definitely like to have SOHCAHTOA nearby to always remind me what I need to do. So there is my angle, and I've got my hypotenuse, and I've got my adjacent. That means I've got A and H, which means it's going to be cosine. So I'm going to do cos 42 equals adjacent over hypotenuse, which is going to be x over 8. Therefore, I need to multiply both sides by 8, so that it's going to end up being 8 cos 42. So I'll put that in my calculator. 8 cos 42. 5.945, which will round up to 5.95. So x equals 5.95. I'll just zoom in a fair bit. That way it's a little bit easier to see. All right, let's go. B is going to be, here I've got, sorry that I've cut out SOHCAHTOA a little bit there. I'll write it up here again. Okay, so I have got my opposite and my hypotenuse, O and H, which means I have to use sine. So it's going to be sine 23 equals opposite x over 1, which means it's just going to be the same as being x. So don't have to do any other rearrangement, multiplication, or anything else. Just do sine 23. Sine 23.39. 0.39. Yes, that is right. I was looking to see if I had to round, but as you can see, no rounding required. Okay, next one. We've got x here, so which is opposite the angle. So we've got an opposite and we've got a hypotenuse. Opposite and hypotenuse is sine. So I'm going to do sine 42 equals x over 20. So that means that I multiply both sides by 20, so I get 20 sine 42, right? 20 sine 42. And the answer to that is 20 sine 42. 13.38. 13.38. All right. Okay. Next one, D. So I've got my hypotenuse and I've got my adjacent. Adjacent and hypotenuse, I'm going to have to do cos. So cos 17 equals x on 4. You end up getting 4 cos 17. Will get you your x. Okay? 4 cos 17. 4 cos 17. 3.83 that rounds up to. 3.83. Now I'm going to do E, then G, then H. That way I don't have to move the camera as much. Okay, E is where we're up to now. I have got my angle here, and I've got something on the opposite side, and I've got my adjacent. So that means I need to do TOA. Tan is opposite over adjacent. So I'm going to do tan 35 equals x over 12. So as always, we multiply by the denominator. So I end up getting me 12 tan 35 equals x. 12 tan 35, 12 tan 35. Boom. 8.40. 8.40. Now I'm going to do G. G, I've got my angle there. I've got my hypotenuse. I've got my adjacent. So that means ka. So that's cosine. So I'm going to do cos 25 equals, that will be cos 25 is adjacent over hypotenuse, x over 32. Multiply both sides by 32. 32 cos 25 equals x. X equals 32 cos 25. 32 cos 25. Bam. 29. 0.0. Actually, I'll just leave it as that. That's fine. Okay. Next one. H. I've got my hypotenuse and I've got my adjacent. Hypotenuse and got my adjacent. All right, so that means it's going to be ka. So cos 18 equals x. Actually, I've got this wrong. I've not labelled that properly. It's just the number there has thrown me a little bit. Thought this one was a little bit funny. I don't have the hypotenuse. I have my adjacent, which is 5, and my opposite, which is x, opposite that angle. Yeah? So that means I need TOA. So I'll go tan 18 equals x on 5. So I've got to end up getting 5 tan 18 equals x. X equals 5 tan 18, 1.62. 1.62. I'm going to go through the last few a bit quicker now that we should have got a lot of practice. Well, I've still got K and I to do. Still, we'll go fast. So, hypotenuse and adjacent. Hypotenuse, adjacent, cos. So, we'll end up having 17 cos 30 will get us our x. 17 cos 30. It's 14.72. I'll do the next one a little bit fuller just to show you how I ended up doing that. So, because this one is going to be opposite and it's going to be hypotenuse, opposite hypotenuse, it's going to be sine. So, sine 34 equals x on 24, and that means that 24 ends up going around the front. So 24 sine 34 equals x equals 24 sine 34, 13.42. 13.42. So obviously you're going to have your angle after the identity and then your number before it, which is exactly what I did here. You have your 24, which ends up going to the front, and you have your angle at the back. If you actually do the angle sign, it might be a little bit easier for you to be able to see it. So for example, for F, if I do it absolutely properly with the angle, so here I've got my hypotenuse, here I've got my opposite, so I'm going to have to do sine 43 degrees equals opposite over hypotenuse x over 2, multiply both sides by x, by 2, sorry. Then I get 2 sine 43 degrees equals x on 2 times 2, which they cancel out. So you end up just getting 2 sine 43. 2 sine 43. 1.36. Okay, now I'm on to I. So I have the opposite and I've got the hypotenuse. It's going to be sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Sine 63, the 45 is going to go at the front to end up getting my x. 45 sine 63, 45 sine 63, 40.1 it rounds up to. X equals 40.1. Okay, M. I have my opposite and I have my adjacent. That's TOA. So it's going to be tan 40 degrees. I'm going to have 21 at the front. That will get me my x. 21 tan 40. 21 tan 40. 17.62. Alright, and last couple. I can't go any more to the side. Yeah. Oh, I'm just going to have to just write it in here. So it's going to end up being, what ones do I need? I need opposite and hypotenuse. So that's going to be sine. So for J, it's going to be 6.2 sine 43. And that equals 6.2 sine 43, 4.23, 4.23. And for the last one, so that is, there's no opposite, it's going to be adjacent and hypotenuse. So that's going to be 5.8 cosine, not 5.8, 19. 5.8 cosine 19. 5.48 equals 5.48. Well, hope you understood that mostly. If you've got any questions, just let me know. I did speed through some of them. I can go through those in full another time if you so wish. Just ask me any questions about anything I've done.